we're going to take a little bit of a turn
Okay.
and go underground. Not in a mob way, not in like a drug smuggling way.
Yeah, not the underground scene. Yeah.
It's underground. So I'm going to be talking about hobby tunneling.
Hobby tunneling. This is not Hobby Lobby. This is like tunnels in Hobby Lobby.
There's a vast network of Hobby Lobby tunnels
connected
that Hillary Clinton is smuggling pizza through. The real Pizzagate. So no, it's people digging tunnels for fun. And it's usually not...
Digging tunnels is really fun, to be fair. Yeah.
Like in the summertime, like growing up, we lived on like a pretty big, like a half acre or a quarter acre.
That's a lot of fun.
There was a lot of digging. We made little like foxholes. Anyway. So yeah, I like digging. So I was immediately like, oh, this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not like normal, like you don't dig out of, you're not digging out of prison. You're not digging to like smuggle things. You're not like mozzarella or whatever. Like,
smuggling mozzarella.
Yeah. Through the mozzarella tunnels. We lost a lot of good men. Mozzarella tunnels. The dry ones.
It's all staring off into space. Yeah, right. Not fresh mozzarella tunnels. Those collapse immediately. We drown.
Immediately.
I'm sorry. Yes, I do.
Yes. Sorry, I know I'm only thinking about tunnels made of mozzarella. I'm centering myself.
Centering.
Okay, so a lot of times people start tunneling for normal reasons, like digging a well or like digging a cellar or making a bunker, as we all do.
Right.
And but then some people just keep digging, and they've described it as like not being able to stop.
It's like a compulsive thing. Almost.
It's almost an obsession, and it's also like I don't know if you've like dug a hole for a while.
Hell yeah!
But it is really relaxing.
Yeah, especially at the beach is what I tend to think of. Like as a kid, that's where I would dig holes. Again, apartment kid, so I didn't really have a home or a yard to really dug into. So the beach was the closest place we could go.
Oh, I used to dig up like because we lived in an old house, and there was just stuff buried in the backyard. So I'd go out there and just dig and dig. And when my cat died a few years ago, I just dug up my yard. And it really helped.
You were going to bury the cat, or you just as like a coping mechanism?
That's a coping mechanism.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, it was good. I ended up planting stuff. It was great.
Okay.
Rest in peace, bear. Anyway, this is not about my dead cat. So people will just start doing it as a hobby. And a lot of times it's like people who don't know anything about like civil engineering or tunneling or like how to support a tunnel. So they'll do these things and it'll kind of mess everything up. So for example, the most famous example of this that you've heard of it. There's been like a bunch of like BuzzFeed and Upvote or whatever on this guy. His name's William Little, and he's from Hackney, London. Bill Little.
Bill Little.
Billy
Don't
Little.
belittle him.
Oh, I'm about to.
Oh no.
No, he's fine. He's a legend. So William Little, he's from Hackney, London, which is a city. It's big. It's not like the countryside. It doesn't have a whole bunch of places to dig. He dug under his house for 40 years.
What?
Yes.
Sorry, I think I just completely blew out the mic. Yes. Dear Lord, sorry.
I've never heard you sound that way.
I've never heard of someone tunneling for 40 years.
Well, that's not even the longest hobby tunneler.
What? Oh. You got to stop blowing my mind. One mind blowing at a time.
It's gonna get worse.
Okay.
Massive. He had a massive web of tunnels under his house. He just worked on for 40 years, and it wasn't like every day. It was like, oh, I'm gonna go add to my tunnel, but then like he jacked everything up, and like a sinkhole appeared. Well, no, a sinkhole. Yeah, and his landlord, because he did own it, but the city evicted him by force because power started going out. Power lines were going out because in Britain, they bury all their power cords. Unlike us who have them all above,
See, if they were smart, the cable internet people could have come in and be like, thanks, yoink. Now we're going to run fiber optics throughout here. And now we don't have to commission anybody. Yeah. They could give him like a plaque to be like, you're an honorary member of Comcast. And they did all the work and they saved a bunch of cash.
Bill just digs his own grave. No thanks.
Yeah.
Comcast sucks. Anyway, so yeah, everyone got super pissed off, and they evicted him, and he was just like, "Oh man, that's the end of him." I don't know what happened to him. I think he just went on to live somewhere else.
In a tunnel, ideally.
Ideally.
He was digging different tunnels.
Those fascists took away his tunnels. He's going to go.
Was he involved with Saddam's tunnel in Iraq when they found him? Was Bill Little involved in that somehow?
Bill Little. Still calling him Bill Little. You know what? I don't know. He's dead, or else I'd ask him.
Oh, he is dead. Okay.
He's dead.
I mean, so
dead.
Saddam. I mean, is there connection? Coincidence? I don't know.
They're both dead and they have tunnels. I don't think that's a coincidence. Tunnel gate. So a lot of guys are like doing it. Like one guy. So for example, have you ever heard of what is his name? My gosh, Elton McNope, Seymour Cray.
Seymour Cray. No, I don't know.
None of these people sound real. He's the father of supercomputing, and we have computers today because of him. And he would dig for years under his house to figure out how to build. It would help him like sort his thoughts and figure out how to like solve the issues of computers and how to build them and stuff. And his quote, he said, "While I'm digging in the tunnel, the elves will often come to me with solutions to my problems."
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes.
I love everything about this. How deep is he going down?
Like 60 feet. I don't know.
Holy crap.
Not kidding. So another guy who also had a bizarro quote, because he was like, "Oh, the voices, I'm having visions.
The voices in my head."
No, seriously, visions and dreams to tell him to dig his tunnels. His name was Leova Arakelian. And he tunneled for 23 years. And it was just him. Nobody helped him. No one knew about it. And most people just say they keep going because they like it.
So are these like continuous, like one tunnels, or like he'll do a one tunnel and he'll be like, "I'm bored with this area. I'm going to go tunnel somewhere else."
It's like us, but with tabs, you know? It's like us with tabs.
500 open tunnels.
Okay, shut it down. We need to do a new podcast.
We got to close this tunnel by pouring a bunch of dirt into it at the end of every episode.
It's like Minecrafted. We
could do live tunneling, like where we're streaming from underground while we're tunneling.
You know what? People are going to watch me die live because it's going to cave in on me. I'm not a civil engineer.
Doesn't sound like any of these guys were.
Well, one of them was. And
one of them
his name, I wish I remembered who. I didn't write down which one has a civil engineer. Anyway, another guy said, quote, "Some men play golf, I dig tunnels." His name was Harrison Gray. He was an American.
Gray.
And
Harry Gray.
He dug 1,300 feet of tunnels under Washington, D.C. And
how does this man not get arrested by the CIA and FBI? Just goes to show you that these people are asleep at the wheel while a terrorist is going around digging tunnels under Washington, D.C. Are you kidding
the White
me?
House?
What the hell? What do we pay these people for?
You feel unsafe now, huh?
Yes. I'm not going to Washington, D.C. anymore. No. Who knows what's going to happen?
You could have a hobby tunneler next door to you. Your car could fall straight through the road tomorrow.
Your neighbor could be a hobby tunneler.
So this guy, Harrison Gray, dug under Washington, D.C. And it wasn't until a truck sank through the road that they were like, this is what they did. They're like, "Please stop." And so he moved.
So polite.
He moved and did it again, but this time somewhere else. So Harrison just tunneled and tunneled. He's the one who said, "Some men play golf, I dig tunnels."
The irony is that you can't put these men in jail because this is literally what they're going to do.
Yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're like, "What?"
You got to put them in a maximum security, like all plastic prison or something.
They'll find a way. They'll find a way.
God, what do you do?
They're hobby tunnelers.
You got to put them in the water or something. They can't tunnel out of the ocean.
True.
Or can they? Yeah, they'll just dig their way to China or something.
Well, that's
what I always think of.
Just dig straight through the earth.
Yeah.
There was this one guy, and of course I didn't write down who, but someone was like, "Yeah, there's no stopping him." And they had no idea how he did it. He just did it by himself. Anyway, this another guy. First of all, they're all men. So I'm a little annoyed about that because I think my next goal in life is to become the patriarchal
hobby. That's
I'm going.
Too many straight white men are tunneling.
They're all straight and white. And I am going to be the first not straight, not man.
I support you 100,000% in this.
If I go missing, you'll know where.
I will champion you. You heard it here first. Yes.
I'm going to break the glass
Yeah, like the dirt ceiling, the dirt floor, I guess. Not really.
I'm going to break the dirt floor and become the first female hobby tunneler to be on Wikipedia. Anyway, so another guy, an Austrian guy, Michael Altman, he just worked on 2 big tunnels. He wasn't like one that branched off, but he owned a bar and he was like, I am going to dig a cellar for this. And then he just kept digging for 50 years.
Holy shit.
50 straight years.
Where was he?
Austria.
Austria. I'm sorry. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Man.
And then during the Cold War, he was like, well, I may as well just keep adding to this and make it a bunker. So he filled it with like emergency stuff so we could survive a nuke. And this is my favorite. He only quit because he hit a solid chunk of granite and thought, I'm too old for this. It just stopped.
Quitter. You should have just went and gotten like a bunch of like jackhammers and stuff and kept going.
That's right. That's not a tunneler's spirit. He's not a true. Anyway, another guy started a barbecue pit. His name's Glenn Havens of San Diego. He started a barbecue pit and also didn't stop, but he would pay neighbor kids to help dig. So he would get all these children in there.
Child labor.
Yes.
Man.
And he would pay them. And the tunnel got so big that he hosted his daughter's wedding reception in it with 200 people.
Why?
Could you imagine being the daughter?
I gotta see pictures of this thing. Yeah. That's the classic dad move where he's like, listen, I got a great idea. Yeah, I got a place to save a bunch of money.
I know some guys in the mozzarella business. We're going to have a great reception.
Got a couple of pizzas, going to my giant hole that I've dug that I've used child labor to produce. What's more romantic than that?
There was like an earl or a duke or something.
The earl
I didn't
of tunneling.
include him because he didn't actually dig anything. He just paid a bunch of people to dig tunnels.
Classic rich person just hiring somebody else to do it. Yeah, wouldn't even get his hands dirty.
We're not talking about you. Couldn't even. Anyway, he yeah. So the last guy I want to talk about is another really funny reason for doing this. He was an Italian immigrant, Balderase Forestieri. Forestieri. I don't know. He moved to California. He immigrated to California, the San Joaquin Valley, and he wanted to plant stuff. And then he was like, it is really hot here. I think I need to dig more underground and make like an underground house.
So it's cooler?
It's cooler underground. And that was what he said was his reason for digging a tunnel. And he just kept digging and digging and digging. But his are beautiful because he like decorated them and put archways. And so if you do want to go open another tab, sorry.
How big is this? Huge. Like how big is like the archway and stuff?
Like
30 feet tall? Like what are you talking about?
No, like person sized, like walk under it. Like you can stand up.
But like you can actually you're walking upright. You're not like crawling through this at this point.
Jeez. And it's beautiful. It's actually really cool looking. Like anyway, so you can go and you can actually go visit the tunnels that are left over. They filled a lot of them in with concrete because, like I said, fascists.
Well, I guess the dirt's not necessarily going to last as long, right? It's like it's eventually just going to wear down and crumble if like it rains too much.
But he was really smart.
Like it's not a problem in California,
yeah, so especially the San Joaquin Valley. And so another quote. There's so many. Here's the thing. There's so many people who hobby tunneled. I couldn't cover all of them. A lot of them were just like, they just dug under a park. I'm not going to include them, but go open that tab. Sorry.
These are some of the greatest hits.
This is the greatest hits in my opinion, and the reasons were so like crazy. It's like, oh, it's too hot. I'm going to dig. And then this is another quote that I really liked from Elton McDonald, who dug a tunnel under a park. And Elton McDonald, Ronald's tunneling brother.
LT Mac.
EMAC. Okay. He dug a tunnel under a park in Toronto that nobody noticed for like 20 years. And then when they found it.
This sounds like the most like, just like, I don't even want to utter the words, but like, that's terrible that it's by a children's park.
Yeah.
But that's where my mind goes, where it's like, this is
playground
dark.
Just sinking into.
Yeah.
Sinking into the earth.
It's like, why would you do that by a children's playground? Like, that's gross. Right. It's messed up.
He hates children. Elton McDonald hates children. Just kidding.
We can't confirm or deny that.
Anyway,
yes.
He dug a tunnel.
Is he alive or is he dead?
I think he's dead. I think all of these guys are dead.
Okay. All these people are. This is an old timey kind of thing. This isn't necessarily happening as much more recently.
No. People were doing this up until.
Okay.
They're still doing it. That's the thing. There's a guy who's doing it that made a movie about it. That he's still tunneling. I can't remember.
What?
Yeah.
Like a documentary about it?
Yes, and it's called. Cool. I came really prepared for this.
Tunnel.
It's on the Wikipedia
it's called Tunnel,
page.
the movie.
Tunnel, the movie. But
the tunneling movie.
Elton McDonald, after they found his tunnel, because they found the tunnel under Toronto's park, one of the parks, and he was like, oh, "Okay, fine, yeah, it was me." And he like came forward, and what he said to the press was, "Honestly, I loved it so much. I don't know why I loved it."
I mean, I think there's something to be said about if you enjoy something and you don't have to intellectualize it. If it's like putting you in some sort of a trance and you love it and it's like allowing you to, I mean, I would imagine that these people are feeling very stuck in their lives. So it must be really gratifying to like dig a hole and to like get out. Yeah, it feels very proactive.
Funny you say that because there's a psychiatrist that like commented on this. His name's Anton Tolk. And he has a theory his theory, which sounds kind of iffy to me, is that people obsessively tunnel to, quote, return to the security of the mother's womb. Unquote.
Of the womb. That makes sense. I could see that.
But, yeah.
It could also be like sculpture in a way where it's like you have this huge slab, but instead of like a rock, you're going into the ground. It's like the inverse of it.
And some of them did tunnel straight through rock. Like guys would use jackhammers to just go straight through granite.
Or maybe they were just ants in their past lives.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. That sounded really insincere, but I meant it. That is really, I would love to be an ant. Get stepped on.
Did you ever play the game Sim Ant as a kid?
Sim Ant was the best.
Yeah, I love that game. It was the best. I love it. That's all I've been picturing in my head the whole time is like, how do you make this so that the red ants can't come attack you and steal your eggs?
So when I go crazier and crazier as I get older and I start disappearing from public, you'll know where I am.
You're being a pioneer is what you're doing. Because you're breaking the dirt floor.
Women to dig tunnels. I'm going to be put on a stamp.
Oh man, a tunnel stamp? That actually does sound really awesome.
So that's what I ended up opening like 5 other tabs, but I closed all of them before because I was feeling out of control, just like I would if I was tunneling.
Yeah, I was going to say you can't stop once you started.
And so that's beautiful. Hobby tunneling.
I love it. I'm actually looking forward to looking at a bunch of images of hobby tunneling really cool. And what it looks like, especially the guy with the arches and stuff. I want to see what it looks like. Like I said, to me, it sounds almost like an adult version of like building sandcastles and stuff. Like so it's that same itch. I feel like that it's scratching.
Yep, I think so. I think there's something in all of us that's like we need to produce and build and create homes and create protection. You know, like it's like inborn in us to like. Yeah. I don't know. Dig?
Really make it. You dig? Plus, you could be like, you dig every time.
No.
Dig. I'm sorry. I'm fired from the podcast for being so cheesy.
It's just going to be cheesy! Mozzarella! Anyway.
This is our last episode ever. Anyway, no, continue.
So yeah, that was hobby tunneling. And there's more to read about it, but I caution you, it's a big Wikipedia article.